welcome to the lowkii studio. For anyone watching who doesn't know who I am, I'm Josh Swift, the technical director for lowkii, and this is the 2025 studio tour. This is our studio. We're based in Alexandria here in Sydney, and we moved into this space just over 12 months ago. But a good place to start for this video would be in our old studio. Previously, we were in a smaller space in Redfern, not too far from here. That's where lowkii first started and ran many different shows and productions, including the beginnings of Backpocket. When I first joined the company in 2022, one of the first jobs I had was to upgrade the technical aspects of the studio to be able to handle things like live sports broadcasting. This was all built into road cases initially so that we could easily move the gear around and give us the ability to take the equipment out of the studio to remote location gigs as well. The space was quite limited though, and it meant that broadcast control was in the same room, just off camera, and in close earshot to talent, which made multi-crew shows a little more difficult, but we made it work. Eventually though, we outgrew the space, and that brings us to today. Here we've got a lot more space, the ability to set up equipment more permanently, and the biggest change, a separate control room and offices away from the set. Downstairs, the set is actually a green cyclorama, which we can flood with colour depending on what we need for a specific shoot or show, and can also utilise a curtain as well. I'm going to head downstairs and run through a bunch of the major systems here in the studio, and we're going to get into some real weeds for the tech heads. And we're going to start with audio. For our primary mixer, we run a Behringer X32 RACK. It's a digital mixer with a ton of capability. It has a lot of the same functionality and I/O as the X32 Compact, just in a rack form factor. So that we don't need to run all the cables from set back over here to the corner, we use an ST16 stage box. This is a 16 input, 8 output stage box that runs over a single Cat6 shielded network cable. Usually, we run a small foldback speaker downstairs here. That's how talent hear my voice, as well as any game audio or music. For Backpocket, we use these Shure MV7 Microphones. We like these a little better than the very commonly used SM7Bs, as they're a little lighter, smaller, and not quite as boomy in the low end. We also have lapels, handheld radio mics, and shotguns for other use cases, as well as these Audio Technica headsets, a staple of a lot of sports and esports broadcasting. Next, I'm going to bring in special guest host Peter Burns to talk through the lighting and cameras we use here. I'm not allowed to touch them most of the time.
Don't even look at it! You're looking at it right now.
Sorry.
Thanks, Josh. When we moved into this studio, one of the major benefits was the height above the studio floor. This height allowed us to install a suspended truss onto which most of our lights are rigged. On the truss are 5 Aputure Nova 300Cs, which can be controlled by an app. These are our RGB spill, as you can see in the background, and our back and top light, which are these here. It's there. It's hard to point on camera. But I move them around the truss and save configurations in the app for different shows as they move throughout the studio and on the truss. One of the hero lights in this studio is this 300 watt FalconEyes with a China ball. I bought the China ball when we first started doing these V setups with talent because it allows me to spill soft light pretty evenly across talent as they sit in the V on the far side, which is the side of the face that's furthest from the camera. And we've just got a couple of little LED panels up the front that just do a bit of fill. And then I supplement everything with RGB tubes from Nanlite. We've got the Gobo torches from Smallrig. And then there's a few other flexible LED panels around the studio. Lighting is the most important part of making any picture look good, but the cameras we use are no slouches. We built the ecosystem that we have in here around my Sony FS-7, which I bought when I was freelancing before we started this company. But when we were looking to make purchases to start streaming and have a multicam setup, my initial intent was to buy cameras that could operate as B cams on field shoots, which is how I anticipated most of our work would go. But lo and behold, here we are streaming still to this day. And because of that, we've got Sony FS-5 Mk IIs, which match in nicely with my FS7. Then this year, we bought into the new Sony line with the FX9. So that is our new A camera on most field shoots because my FS7 was getting a little long in the tooth. Still good. I love it. But this is the FX9. Do you like it? The lenses are a smattering of Canon stills glass. We've got a Sony G Master lens, but for Backpocket specifically, the flanks are 50mm primes and the wide shot is a 24mm prime. And they're from Samyang. They're cheap glass, but they're good. Back to you, Joshua. Josh?
Thanks, Peter.
He's good.
All of the cameras are wired through to this device via SDI. This is a Blackmagic ATEM 2ME production studio. It's a vision switcher with a ton of functionality. This is what I use to cut cameras on the show, and it runs my multi-view upstairs. It's important that all the cameras come to this device first, as it guarantees the sync as we move further down the line. Next is the Videohub. This is a 20 input, 20 output video router, also from Blackmagic. This is the main distribution device for the entire production workflow. Inputs consist of everything from camera feeds, MEs from the ATEM, game consoles, PC capture, they all go through here. The outputs range from lines into the broadcast PCs for capture to screens on set for program foldback. It's also doing a lot of duplicating, sending the same camera or capture feeds to multiple destinations simultaneously while keeping everything in sync. Next, we've got our Blackmagic Hyperdeck. This is the Studio HD Pro model, and it records very high quality video directly to SSDs. And that's literally all it does, which is more than half the team do, to be fair. All of this is connected and controlled via our network. We don't run anything too crazy or special here. We've got Draytek hardware, a router, a 24-port gigabit switch, and then a dedicated 12-port 10-gig switch. The majority of the devices in the studio are using the regular switch, and then we've got specific machines on the 10-gig network, as well as our storage array. We're running a Synology storage system, which is made up of SSD drives. This allows the post-production guys to edit directly off the network instead of having to store video on their local machines. The other important use of 10-gig in the studio is NDI. NDI is similar to SDI and allows you to send high-quality video over network, and we use it quite often for various things in live broadcast. For our internet, we're running business-grade fiber via Telstra. It's gigabit symmetrical, 1000 up, 1000 down, and it's not part of the NBN infrastructure, which is why it's very reliable for us. Onto the PCs. There's quite a few of them. We use them in the studio for a variety of different jobs. These include main switches, CG and live graphics operation, live replay operation, encoders and recorders, video processors, gaming capture, post-production, editing, you name it. There's 8 PCs here in the racks, and then another 4 or 5 upstairs for staff and editors. I'm going to drill down into just 2 of our new primary broadcast machines. A lot of the parts had to be specially ordered, and was probably about a 2 to 3 month process to get everything here and built. I want to give a special shout out to PC Case Gear in Melbourne. They came in clutch and helped us with the majority of the parts for these, but also some special orders through suppliers overseas. These 2 machines are almost identical. They're running Intel Xeon W5 2565X CPUs, a bit beefier than your regular Intel range. Super quick NVMe storage for capture and replay, altogether about 12 terabytes of SSD space each. They've also got 10 gig network adapters on board, as well as NVIDIA 4080 Super GPUs. For capture, we've got Blackmagic Quad 2 cards, which have 8 bidirectional SDI in and outs. This is how we get feeds into the machines from the Videohub and any other devices here. You'll notice these 2 machines, as well as the X32 mixer, are in this road case with their own switch. This is our fly rack. We can unplug this and take it on location to produce super high quality live broadcasts, and we've been lucky enough to work on some really cool remote projects with this kit. Now let's head upstairs and see where all those cables are headed. This is our control room and production run. There's 3 spots here at the main desk, plus room for a director, and we've got some extra desk space here when required as well. I'm set up here in the corner. The amount of screens can look a little daunting, but everything has a specific purpose. It's set up like this so that things are immediately available for me to see without having to change the screen or take extra steps. We've got the multi-view above, which is always showing all of the camera feeds, even if they're not currently live on air. To the right is a monitor connected directly to the encoder PC. Whether we're encoding with vMix or OBS Studio, it's usually on a separate machine as a layer of redundancy. Under that is a dedicated program output, a clean feed of the show for monitoring. Then these 2 monitors are for my PC, which is the main broadcast machine handling shows. This entire workflow is set up to be capable of running both single operator shows like Backpocket, where I'm the only one pressing buttons and handling audio, graphics, direction, and switching, and multi-crew shows, where we can easily split off a bunch of those roles to individual operators along the run here in studio or even remote. For I/O, I run Stream Deck XLs from Elgato. There's 4 here, but they can be shared around to other machines and operators when required. They don't run on Elgato's own Stream Deck software though. They're all running via Companion, a third-party program that interfaces with all of our equipment downstairs in the rack, as well as vMix and OBS, our mixer. All can be controlled via Stream Decks and other control surfaces. Then to the right here, I've got a Behringer X-Touch control surface, which can simultaneously control the X32 mixer downstairs and vMix. Primarily, I use it to mix vMix's audio for live broadcasts. Most of our live production workflow runs through vMix, although we use OBS Studio often for specific cases. vMix is a super powerful and robust live production and switcher software, which has become industry standard when it comes to live streaming. As a little bonus trivia, it's made by a small team here in Australia, and they've absolutely earned their success. This is what Backpocket looks like inside of vMix. You can see things like our cards, any tape packages of gameplay for playout, as well as the different layouts we use on the show. It's all here, and it's all controlled via those Stream Decks. We use a remote access software called Parsec to control other machines downstairs, as well as headless machines that don't have physical monitors, keyboards, and mice attached to them. You can see here, this machine is running the chat display for Backpocket in studio, taking the feed from multiple channels and sending it into the rest of the broadcast system with OBS via SDI. and it gets pushed to the monitors downstairs for talent and our CRT TV. This PC is using vMix as a video processor, sending out SDI feeds to the TV displays on set. They can be duplicated or even separate depending on the needs of different projects. And even though this is an entirely separate machine, I can still use my same Stream Decks here to control this vMix instance and change what's on the TVs live during the show. Usually my right hand is resting here though. This is where I cut the cameras for Back Pocket and other live productions or shoots we do here at Lowkii. Every time you see the camera change live on the show, that's one of these button presses. That's pretty much everything. Hope you guys enjoyed this quite detailed look at how the studio runs and how Back Pocket works behind the scenes. This whole video was a stretch goal from our incredible Patreon supporters, so a special shout out goes to the Pocketeers. Peter wrote, but mostly thanks to Peter.